the reward rate so that we don't. Let me back up and tell you this. I'm sorry to ramble. I was in Strong when they did the reward cut. When they cut the rewards from 2 to 1, that hurt. And I want to avoid that, and Luke wants to avoid that. We want to avoid that for our community. We don't want to come out and say, hey, it's going to be one thing, and then a month later go, oh, yeah, sorry, guys, we told you it was that. But now, unfortunately, we have to cut it in half. So we figured out what the reward rate needs to be up front. And a lot of care and thought went into that.
No, I think that makes sense. And another thing is, especially if you're talking with somebody with that can potentially hold their weight from a traditional finance background as far as reward rates are concerned. I think anytime that you go against that, it's diluting not only value for the community, but it's diluting value or the expectation, but like the actual value of the protocol itself. Because why would you have to slash a reward rate? You know what I mean? Like, and again, like I also agree. Like I think cutting it after the fact is a really bad look, in my opinion. I guess the last question that I have is I know that I was able to talk with Luke last night. Doxing I think is going to be amazingly big for any of these protocols moving forward because it adds that layer of trust and transparency within communities. And when is the expected time for that? Is it at launch? Is it after launch? I guess I'm just curious on that. And again, thank you guys for having this tonight. It's really appreciated.
Absolute pleasure, man. So yeah, we fully intend to dox. We fully intend to dox in the short term. We are just working out what everything looks like at this stage. For me, I forgot to mention as well, we are having our smart contracts audited by Certic as we speak. That will be completed on the 31st of December. We have really enjoyed the interaction between Certic and our principal dev because it's been quite interesting to watch. And we are really looking forward to seeing the results of that audit. So when that audit comes back, we intend to dox. I might dox on day one. We might wait a week or two. We're not sure. We are. So carry on, Derek.
Sorry, I wanted to add into there. So part of the decision to dox is, like you said, King Solomon, we want to make sure that we're transparent with you guys. Everything that we do should be communicated and available for the community to see, because ultimately it's your money that is being invested, and we're not going to go run and hide behind anonymity and put a wall of mods up in the Discord server to block you from getting to us. There is so Luke and I are in the process of creating a legal entity to shield liability. So I'm probably not going to dox until that legal entity is created, but I fully intend to get on camera and dox at some point in the future after that legal entity is created for liability purposes. And that's the trigger for me. Once that's complete and in place, then I have absolutely no issue whatsoever with doxing.
Now, just sorry. Can I just add to what Eric said there? So we're going to be we're seeking legal advice to run the token as a foundation, very similar to the Ethereum Foundation, with Eric and I as custodians, and the third party custodian being the community. We want to give the community a voice at the table with us for, as we run it. So we're just seeking legal advice of what that foundation looks like, the best place to host it for protection of the protocol first and foremost, and then protection of the community as well. Yeah,
my last, I know I keep rambling on. Sorry, I have questions. So from the dev aspect, you guys have a dev that's drawn up the smart contract, that's done all of the economics behind the protocol itself. If the dev isn't going to docs, have you guys done, I know you guys are getting a Certic audit and everything else, have you guys ensured that you guys have sole control over the contract itself? There's no sort of backdoors or anything within that contract to make sure that, and again, I don't know, because I think we touched on this maybe a little bit, but when I talked to you last night, Luke, but as far as like the the warm and fuzzy that you get from the dev, a warm and fuzzy is great until it becomes not a warm and fuzzy. So like, have you guys taken precautions from that standpoint?
Yeah, so our reward contract, our reward wallet is the only one in the protocol that's locked. So anything that's in the reward wallet is the community's. We've made sure it's that way. The treasury wallet, in fact, it's all under Eric and my control. We injected the liquidity today. Certic is searching for backdoors. We have a great relationship with the dev. The dev will be supporting and managing with us full time moving forward. So we're really, really comfortable and confident about what we've created. I'll tell you now, injecting that liquidity pool was one of the scariest moments of my life, but we did it. And yeah, we're ready to rock and roll now. Yeah, no, thank you for your concerns, but please.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you, Luke, and thank you, Eric. I appreciate it. And then I will hop into listeners. I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, thank you for coming and appreciate you talking. Nice questions. Thank you. I think we had Showtime. Did you jump in and want to speak, or did you just come up to the stage to show show your presence?
Well, I'll leave the ladder up to you guys. But the former, yeah, I want to make, first of all, just a statement and then ask a question. All these DeFi as a service protocols are dying, and it's not looking good. And Twitter is just a giant, huge mess today for a lot of reasons, and it typically is. The kind of the statement that I want to make is I think what's really, really crucial is that you guys are different. And I think you guys are different, but I just think moving forward in the approach that you guys are doing, just as long as you can create a separation between you and Ring and all these other DeFi as a service protocols, I think you will be in a good position to be seen autonomously from them, because I think the space is so clouded with hate and anger right now because these things are all racing to zero quickly. And when you guys come out, I think it's really, really imperative, and I know you guys know this, but I'm just kind of stating it publicly. It's really imperative that you guys create a huge separation as much as possible, and you don't want to copy anything that they're doing on any level. So that's just kind of like a general statement that I know you already know, but it's just, I thought, good for the rest of the people in here to hear. I guess more of the question that I want to ask is, how do you guys kind of see that separation happening moving forward with the public launch? I'm not so sure things are going to blow over in like 3-4 days or 4 days, 5 days, whatever it is. So with everybody getting hurt and all this kinds of stuff, how are you going to stand out and say, hey, this is kind of like the safer place to be when everyone's getting, slow rugged, so to speak?
There's a really lovely saying that hard times create good men create good times create bad men create bad times, which create good men. So out of the bad times, we're going to be walking forward as the good men. What is happening now is a complete shower of shit for the entire DeFi system. And we are there, fully placed and ready. We saw it coming. I cannot believe the timing and dates of everything that all along the way we read this market. People are getting hurt, people are getting rugged, and we want to be Switzerland. We want to be the Switzerland within DeFi crypto. We want to be that safe bet. We're not just looking at this. We're going to be pushing forward and looking at ways to diversify and stay agile and pivot in this ever-changing landscape, because it is ever-changing. But no, thanks.
Yeah, I'll add to that just for a second. So you brought up Ring. I'm one of the largest investors in Ring, and I don't say that braggadocious or to pump myself up, but to say that I really believed in the concept that they introduced, and they were the first ones to introduce it that I'm aware of, and I really like the concept. I have been taking notes over the last month and a half that they've been operating on what not to do, and it's basically giving me the recipe for what we've done. Luke and I have discussed and created this concept. But I think we've delivered, or we're going to deliver, on the promise of what that concept was. And I'll say the first thing that you're going to find here versus the other ones that differentiate us is that the Treasury is the Treasury. It is only the Treasury. It is only for investments. We are not going to take any funds from the Treasury to support ourselves or future development or operating expenses. It is just for investments, and anything that we make in profit comes back into there and gets bought back into the liquidity pool to spread the profit to the community in the form of price or buying pressure, which raises the price of the token, which you guys earn in exchange for your investment. So the all of these actually, if you look at them, and Thor does better, by the way. I don't want to bad talk any. I'm not bad talking any of them, or I don't want to bad talk any of them. So don't think this is me casting shade at them. They both, and they're the big ones right now that I'm aware of. There's some other ones. They're all trying to copy what Ring did, and there's some flaws in what Ring started with. And I think they can adapt and they can overcome once we show them how it's supposed to be done. And hopefully they'll take some notes from us and make the whole space better.
Yeah, and that's interesting because what you said is something that even Olympus does, which is they pull out of their treasury to pay DAO expenses and things like that. So what I like about what you guys doing is you're running this like a real business. You know, I've run businesses, and coming into crypto, I can tell a lot of people don't. It's just, and it's not like a talking, being condescending kind of thing. It's just, you can kind of tell they're not really business people, right? And I will just say, just for everybody in attendance, we don't have a huge number of people, but just for the people in attendance here, I've spoken, you know, on Zoom calls with Luke and Eric. I've seen their faces. I've heard the personal stories about why they started Phoenix and all that. Like, these are real people, okay? And I remember you guys saying, you know, a while back that you were trying to time it around the market dying, and I don't know if you have a crystal ball or what it is, but you really timed it like perfectly. And it's interesting. I would not say this on Twitter because I'd probably get creamed for saying it, but I'll say it here, which is, you know, I'm a fan of the NBA. Okay, maybe not so much anymore, but especially when I was younger. And the NBA All-Star game, the first half of the game's kind of a joke. Everybody knows that. It's just people are screwing around. You got the big guys dribbling down court, and everyone's shooting threes. And it's kind of just like a Harlem Globetrotter show. But in the second half is when the game gets more competitive, and it's in the second half when the real game actually starts. And I kind of see, ever since Ring started and all these other things have popped up and they're all dying off, you know, really quickly, I kind of see this as sort of the first half. And I think this second half is going to be when the more legitimate, real projects come up, because they're going to see, okay, you had basically, like what you said, Eric, one project that did it okay with a lot of issues, and then every other project trying to copy that flawed model with some slight changes, but no one has really redesigned the model and have done it right. So I actually think we're coming into the end of the year, but more importantly, the second half, when a lot of the more legitimate, transparent projects are going to come up, and I think you guys are going to lead that charge personally.
Thanks.
One of the... sorry.
No, carry on.
No, I mean, I wanted to... I came back up again. I think what Showtime said is extremely important. Like, Twitter is like a maelstrom of whatever the hottest topic potentially is, and being able to separate, you know, not necessarily being even the ability to separate to the point where it's like, okay, we've seen these flaws. Like, I think being able to translate that to the community at large in a way that makes the project completely unique is going to be extremely important. And it's going to allow people like, you know, Bearable Bull, who's up here to talk as well, like us to really speak on it in a real and transparent way, and just saying, hey, it's not another clone of something. It's not. And I know that it's not. I spoke with you last night as well, Luke, and I appreciate you taking the time out to do that. But just, it's gigantic. Like, under promising and over delivering is kind of project management number one, or 101. The same thing if you're running anything and doing something sustainable that's a little bit different in this market that is just, you know, based on all the metrics you've ran is definitely different. That's the biggest thing for me. Like, I want to be able to, I told Lee, and Lee's in this chat as well, because Lee's the one that kind of mentioned this to me a couple weeks ago, and then last night, I told Lee, like, I'm certainly interested, and And any time that Lee tells me something, I listen to him because I would go to war with that dude. And then same thing with you, Luke. Like you and I talked last night, and same thing. It's just really about transparency. It's about communication. It's about setting yourselves apart from anything else. So if those mechanisms exist, I will support, and I'm sure that they will. I will support 1,000% and do whatever I possibly can. But I think it's really what Showtime said is nails it. That needs to be clarified, like across the board, like right from the get-go. You know, like it can't be presented in a way where it's not, because it isn't. So if you guys have built something that's truly separational and to the point where it's sustainable, I mean, it needs to be presented in that way as well. And I'm more than willing to help and support. So.
Is it okay if I could speak?
Yeah, let me get one more thing in here just as a statement, and then Bearable Bull, you can have a turn. I did want to say that there's been a lot of confusion in the marketplace because when Ring came on, they adopted I think it was more like a reward mechanism, but they adopted the terminology of a node, and that really confused a lot of people. I don't know if that matters to you guys here or not, but we are not creating nodes. We have chosen the terminology nest for our reward mechanism so that you don't get the confusion of, well, I thought I was creating nodes. So one more differentiator for you, King Solomon, speaking on differentiation of the market that Showtime talked about earlier. So with that being said, Bearable Bull, please go ahead.
And thank you, Eric. And this is going to be a little bit of an introduction, and then I'm going to ask a question. Eric and Luke, thank you so much for this project. Lee, thank you for telling me about this. Matt, your mind works different. Thank you for trying to ask the right questions and being one of the smartest dudes when it comes to this niche within crypto that I know. And Solomon, much love, my brother. How you doing? It's really a pleasure to have been introduced to all of you. And, I really think that, you guys have a crystal ball when it comes to timing these things, because that's a really good time. And I love what Matt said about the second half of an all-star game. That's really what it seems to be looking like here. I think we all know that after that December 4th crash, I think it was, that it was really a blow to the gut for a lot of the crypto community. So I think we had a lot of time to recalibrate, take a breath, enjoy the holidays, and then also reassess and regroup. So I think this was great. I feel like crypto recently has been experiencing the death by 1,000 rug pulls, if you will. So we're definitely getting those rug pulley projects out of the way. So that's good as well. But Eric, I think you brought up a really interesting point that maybe you touched on this earlier, but just so that I'm up to speed as an educator in this space, so I know how to correctly phrase things. I don't want to get things incorrect. You said you're doing things differently than other projects have done in the past, that you've been taking notes of things that worked and things that didn't work. Can you just briefly, for myself, so I know how to go about relaying that information to people, what things that you've taken that do work and what things that you left behind that didn't work?
Yeah, so first and foremost, the things that don't work are lack of transparency. For instance, hiding from your community when they're freaking out over something going on. That doesn't work. At the end of the day, what we need for this to work, to really work, we need the mechanism in place that supports the model that I explained earlier, where it's a feeding mechanism, where if you invest and then feed the profits back in the form of buybacks on the token against the liquidity pool, that creates buy pressure, which raises the price and creates a higher token price, where then the community gets to exchange their tokens at a higher price, which really just transfers the profit from the project back to the individual. So that mechanism has to be in place. The second thing is the transparency and the way we've set up our treasury and the way that we've talked about not using it for research and development or operating expenses. Yes. That kind of stuff is really shady. A lot of people don't like it. They don't understand why these people do it that way. I frankly don't understand why they do it that way, except for maybe what Showtime mentioned. They're not business people.
Yeah.
They're really, really good developers. They really
And
understand crypto, but they don't understand
that's a really
business.
important. I think that's a really important distinction. Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, so that's one of the distinctions we have here. We also, Luke and I are looking to do something that benefits the community as a whole. I will be upfront and honest with you guys. We're going to participate. So Luke and I are going to be participants in the community. That's part of how we're going to compensate ourselves for the trouble of putting it all together, or I should say the joy of putting it all together. Some of these other ones, they take fees. Every time you claim their rewards, they take a 10% fee, and it's not just one, it's a lot of them. And that doesn't make sense to me, because I like to think that my rewards are my rewards, and I'd rather you just put it down instead of claiming a 10% tax on everything that I claim, which is a bad look. Just put it down to what you need it to be, and let it be what it is, and just give the people when you look in your reward claim, you want to claim what you see. You don't want to have to do the math and figure out, okay, well, I want to do this, and now I have to figure out what 10%, so what's 90% of what's in there, and is that enough to do what I want to do? And if it's not, then I have to let it sit and then keep doing the math in my head. That doesn't make sense. I wanted to make it, Luke and I wanted to make it easy for the community to engage and involve in this project, and take away some of the barriers that make it feel kind of like, and I'm not going to name names, because once again, I said I'm not going to get up here and cast shade about anybody. But there are certain projects where it feels like they're in it for themselves. People sit on these massive treasuries. There's millions of dollars in place, but they're not investing any of it. And they don't seem to care that they're not investing any of it. And it makes it feel disingenuous. And it makes it feel like they're in it for themselves only, which doesn't work for the community. So that's the kind of stuff we're trying to get away from. That's what I've noticed. I've taken notes on. I've been in some of the Discord servers. I'm a member of some of the other competitor Discord servers. People there know me. I speak my mind. I tell them exactly what I think. So, if at some point I mention, hey, I started my own project, this thing's going to flood probably, because there's enough people over there that say, man, you just make sense. So it's really just common sense, Bull. I mean, what else can I say except for it's common sense? You just treat
Common sense isn't so common, Eric. You know that.
I know that, but just treat others like you would wish to have been treated, and it'll all work out. If we put the community first, the rest will fall in place. And there's no doubt in my mind that if Luke and I approach this, which we have, with the community first in mind, it's going to go really, really well, and we're going to have a lot less friction than some of the other competitors in the space.
Yeah, the one thing for me too is, the rephrasing of nodes to nests is very important. And I think when you talk about flooding, I think we all know if Bearable Bull does a video, and I'm not, if I do a video, I don't know what will happen, probably nothing. But if Bearable Bull does a video where he's like, welcome back, everybody, it's the Bearable Bull here, and I've got this phoenix rising from the ashes. It's going to be ridiculous. So just allowing ourselves to understand and kind of transmit that value opportunity to the community is going to be gigantic from a transparent and a clear way. And I'm going to hop back into listeners again. I appreciate you guys, and maybe I'll hop up again, but maybe not.
Thanks, Solomon, man. And just to add on to what Eric said, we had a really interesting moment where we went to try and claim some rewards from a protocol. And unfortunately, when we went to claim the rewards, we didn't get anything. So we checked the reward contract, and the reward pool was empty. It said protocol was pulling the rewards pool out and using that for operating costs, diluting it all to themselves. So our reaction to that was we locked the reward pool. So no one can divvy into your funds, guys. Thank you. And Lee, I'd love to hear from you. Thank you. I'd like to just, thank Lee in front of everyone. Lee's been a massive supporter of our project from day one and has been integral to our launch going so well. So thank you, Lee. And I'd love to hear what you have to say, brother.
Wow. How are we, guys? How you feeling?
Tired, man.
I bet you're tired. I bet you're nervous. I bet you've had a nervous poo and all sorts. But congratulations, guys, and on a successful launch, and hopefully that the UI stands up from the website point of view and we don't have glitches, which I'm hoping for. And mate, the token price is over $60 already. So anybody who got in whitelisting has done okay so far. They've got a discount, which is how it should be. So everybody, well done. So honestly, what I've got to add to the great people within these groups, who are all good friends of mine, as you guys know, I wanted to connect you guys with the best trusted people within the space to work with you guys, because I believed in the transparency and the honesty model that you guys were going with. I know, open disclosure, Luke's a friend of mine, and I met Eric 2-3 weeks ago, and we hit it off. Really, really top guys, and I can't speak highly enough for either one of them. I'm going to ask some questions that I know the answers to, but I kind of want to ask them just so you can answer them and people can know more about the project, right? So, is that all right?
Please do, man. Please do. I'm sure there's so much we've missed. We've been so busy, guys.
Absolutely, and I'm making it tired as well. So, investment into the treasury, which is a huge ring failure, as Eric kind of touched upon. When are you guys looking to kind of start filling your treasury with juicy assets?
ASAP. So with the tokenomic, every node you build, 20% goes into the treasury pool. That treasury pool, we're going to invest on your behalf. We're going to be looking for a DAO very, very soon with the first bit. We're going to put it out to community vote. We're going to go away and think of maybe 2, 3, 4 different projects. We're going to come to you, the community, and say, hey guys, as part of our launch, where should we invest this?
You're not going to do what Ring did, are you? And you're not going to go, these are 4 projects and we don't know why we're investing in them. You're going to actually put a full professional proposal together to the DAO where it's going to be the reasons that you've chose these, I'm assuming.
Exactly that. And on top of that, if we invest in Olympus, for example, we're going to make sure that we actually stake in Olympus as well and not just hold the tokens.
No, yeah, save that question for when the rest of the Ring people get here. Yes. Because that's going to ring, no pun intended, it's going to ring true in their ears.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was... so one of the things you're alluding to, for the people who don't know or haven't been involved in Ring, the question was asked to the project manager, why did you choose these 4? His answer on that was, they sounded trendy. So there was no thought or consideration into the viability of the project. They just said it sounded trendy, so we were going to invest in it. And I thought, wow, that's the moment where I thought this is not going to end well.
Absolutely. No, and I couldn't agree more with you. When I found out that Ring was not actually investing any of their treasury and they held some tokens that they didn't stake, so it wasn't a yield-bearing asset, there was kind of hardly any point in holding that asset because the whole point in holding an asset within the treasury that is actually a yield-bearing asset, right? So it's repaying the people who have put their money in, so it's actually making profits for the community, right? So the fact that they're just holding a token and just hoping that the price is going to go up is a little bit naive from a business point of view as well, I personally think. So I'm glad you guys are going to go straight off the bat and invest the money as soon as you can into the protocol. So I really do appreciate that. Next question for you guys. I know we've touched upon sustainable model on multiple times in private conversations and in groups, right? Well, how do you see this going? Do you see that the 0.225 is a sustainable model moving forward? Do you see yourself land grabbing a community like others have done and then lowering the rewards drastically? Or have you got another plan to take selling pressure off?
Yeah, so we've got, good question, man, definitely. So we've got a couple of things set up to relieve selling pressure. And I don't want to give too much away on day one, Lee.
I know. Sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
I'll tell you what we'll tell everyone. So we have a range of NFTs. So we have a master NFT and a grand NFT. Just to let you know, the NFTs aren't working at the moment. So we have a master NFT and a grand NFT. Now these will boost your rewards. So each 10 nests you have, you can get a master NFT. That'll boost your rewards. And then when you get 100 nests, you get a grand NFT. Now these grand NFTs are going to be like gold dust. And we're going to reward good wallet behavior. So people who reinvest in the protocol, who treat the protocol like the beautiful thing that it is, will be rewarded with early access into whitelisting projects that come through the incubator, and early investments elsewhere. Alongside that, we're going to be running a loyalty club as well. Now we're currently finalising what it looks like, and you know, I'm not going to take credit for this one because this was actually proposed by one of the community, a fellow called Lee. You might know him. And the idea is that when you receive a grand NFT, we're going to enter you into a raffle to win a Lambo. We've decided a Lamborghini Gallardo for the first 100 grand NFT holders. So that's there. There's another couple of things that we want to do, but honestly, and I apologise, my head is full of a million things right now, so I'm going to have to pass over to Eric.
Yeah, so I got a little. So I'll be honest with you guys, I have a little bit of an ADD problem, and I forgot the original question already, Lee. So I was listening to Luke elaborate. Can you repeat your question? So you guys, full transparency, right?
To be honest with you, Luke answered it beautifully, and I kind of knew the answers, but I weren't sure if he was going to share it.
Well, okay, so I remember now. So you were asking about relieving selling pressure.
Yeah, and I was talking about, are you guys looking to reduce the rewards moving forward like a lot of the other models do, where they offer a high APY off of a bat, encourage a community in, and then they slash the rewards, and then everybody's kind of budding them and stuff like that, which I would see as a bad strategy?
No, that's something that I talked about when King Solomon was up on the stage earlier. We sat down with our CFO, who's a wizard with numbers and finance.
Yeah,
and we worked out a sustainable model and determined what that sustainable reward rate is, so that we don't have to reduce it later. And that's what we're coming out with initially. It's going to be less appealing to those who are trying to play lottery, and you know, those big giant high returns and gamble their investments. This is more for the seasoned investors or people who are looking for a sustainable growth and return rate, not the I want to pull the lever on the slot machine and hope I win $1 million in 1 week. So, but it is sustainable. I won't sit here and tell you that it's absolutely out of the question, everything being in flux. We will always evaluate it, but we have determined what the reward rate needs to be in order to be sustainable and achieve a growth rate that we can actually afford, given that we're going to do the treasury investments and then all profits are going to go back into the community in the form of buybacks. So on one side of the coin, you have controlling selling pressure, and you don't want to be too stifling, right? Because look, the whole point of this is you've made an investment so that you can actually gain a return or a profit. So we don't want to stifle it too much. I don't want to get mad at people for selling, because ultimately that's what we're all here for, is to sell and make money. But there's two sides of that coin. The other side is, how do you increase the buying sentiment to offset the selling pressure as well? So there's that aspect of it as well that we're going to try and take a positive approach to.
Absolutely. And just because you answered the sustainability model without the added benefits of kind of encouraging people to buy NFTs and move their way to a grand NFT for lottery reasons, and obviously other things coming in the future. One other quick question. Obviously, you've got some powerhouses from an influencer type of view within the group, which are good friends of mine. How are you looking to leverage those guys, and how are you looking to build relationships with those guys moving forward?
Luke, you want to take that one first?
Hey man, yeah, sorry buddy. I was just looking through some stuff. Cool. So Firstly, do you know what? We've been really, really blessed with having some key figures come and join us at such an early moment. Thank you. We are obviously going to be looking to develop these relationships moving forward, and we're not going to be pushing out into other communities. Really, apart from you guys, we want to give you guys, like, we want to thank you for joining us on our journey with us. So we're not going out to other influencers or anything like that. You guys have us, and we have you, and we're a team together. Hang on one second.
Yeah, and just to point out to people who are not aware, the influencers and promoters that we're working with, they're all here because they want to be here. We are not compensating any of them directly or indirectly. There are some who have been with us since day one advising us on what they would like to see in the marketplace, and we've been adapting to those requests really to, to fill the request of the community in general. So that I just want to be aware, everyone needs to be aware of that there are some big people, there's some big names here, but they're here because they believe in what we're doing. It's not a matter of, well, we paid this person $10,000 to shill us and promote us on YouTube. That's not happening.
Actually, can I just actually follow that up? Every single person involved in this project has paid to be involved in this project. Every single person who's in this server has paid to be in this server. Eric, I, Lee, Showtime, Bull, everyone has paid and invested in the pot. So look, this is a community thing that we've pulled together to do together. And we're really looking forward to watching this grow. Now, there's going to come a point where this goes out and the degen market comes in, right? And all of these fanboys who just go into everything are going to come into our protocol, right? And we're going to be able to operate with a certain air of confidence in this market because we're audited, we're doxed, we're going to have a limited foundation, we're legitimate, and that's something that no one else can say in this market right now. And do you know what? I hope we inspire others to follow us, and we clean this market up and let us be that vanguard, that pioneer for change that is needed. Because all of you are here because you want the same change that we want. So let's make that change together, and let's make DeFi in crypto a safer place to be as we move into 2022 and crypto becomes something that everyone gets to enjoy.
Absolutely, and I couldn't agree with the sentiment that how you guys have responded to all these questions tonight. And I thought I'd throw you a few curveballs just to make sure you're on your feet, even though you're tired, just for a laugh. And I do apologise for that. But I just thought it was important for the community, where it's a small community at the moment, to actually understand what you guys have been building in the background from a transparency, trust and sustainable model point of view. And like I say, there has been some key influencers that have been working with you guys from early on. They have not done it from a financial reward point of view. They've done it from a trust point of view because they believe in what you guys are building. And it was a conversation upon a conversation, and then they've been working with you to make sure that the model is right for something that they want to deliver to their own communities. So honestly, guys, I'm really, really proud of both of you for what you're actually bringing to the market at a time when the market needs you. So yeah, you've got my full support here on out anyway. So I'm happy to kind of mute myself now and go quiet, and I'm probably going to join back in at some point anyway. So, but there you go. But thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, Lee. Thank you very much for your input and questions. I brought Dream State up because he had his hand up. Dream State, what's your take on this? Are you muted? I can't hear anything if you're talking.
Right, rather than it go quiet, shall we kind of have a spitball for a minute, yeah? So Showtime, talk to me about what you've kind of experienced within these other kind of products within the market at the moment and what you haven't liked and what you have liked.
Well, how many hours do you have?
Come on. I know that's a very open-ended question, right? And we have good conversations, don't we, mate? But I'm just trying to get the conversation flowing while we're waiting.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Lee. Thanks so much. What I like to sum things up, and what I'm noticing is with a lot of these projects, it's kind of shoot first, aim second. In other words, release it, draw people in with high rewards, and then cut the rewards, and then have a completely unsustainable model. Figure out basically your tokenomics and use your earlier investors as these sacrificial lambs. That's for example, I tell people I found Ring at $14. Now I didn't find it as early as Eric, but I found it at $14, and it was first of all it looked scammy as heck, and I don't mean to like attack Ring. I'm just saying they kind of started this thing, right? But it looked so scammy. I know this for a fact that there was fake bots, fake Twitter accounts created with like women in bikinis and stuff promoting it. I saw it right when it happened. They're not there anymore, but I saw it, and I actually have a screenshot somewhere. The point I'm trying to make is that all of a sudden the next day it was 10 tokens. So I'm thinking, okay, so the guy or gal that spent $1,400 on one, air quote node is now screwed because someone else can build 10 for the same price literally 24 hours later. So it was an ever-changing of the goalpost, so to speak. And then Black Friday, they literally ran a freaking Black Friday sale. Okay, it's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And it's like, okay, well, this is the complete opposite of decentralization. This is, and I understand sometimes centralization has to be there. I get it, right? But not to the point where you're literally every day changing something like the reward structure or the requirements. And it just, to me, it's lazy tokenomics. It's, we want to make money first and then figure it out later. That's kind of what I'm seeing. I'm seeing it with every single project. Louverture is probably doing a better job, but even them, like, okay, they're cutting it, but think about it. I mean, they lured people in at 7% every day, and now they're going to get 0.5% every day. So why not release that in advance? Why not figure that out ahead of time, right? Because with these projects, you're giving up your tokens. It's not like you're staking them. It's not like you could just go get your tokens back and, say goodbye, kind of like Stromblock, you're giving your tokens up in exchange, which is fine, but figure it out before you do it. I mean, to me, the general theme is the earlier investors are the sacrificial lambs, right? They're kind of the lab rats, if you will, for a lazy team to try to figure something out. Because like I say, these are not business people. These are not the kind of people that, hey, before you actually release a product or a service, you have to have a business plan. You have to know what problem you're solving. You have to look at every possible issue and attack it before you even have the business. This kind of like, they're very reactatory and they're playing defense, I'll put it to you that way, and they're not playing offense. And that's kind of the theme that I've seen.
That was a great response to my question. Thank you, Showtime. Right, is the guy unmuted himself now so he can join the stage?
Dream State, are you there? No. All right. Feel free to message us if you want, or just pop the message in the main chat, and we'll happily pick it up.
Yeah. I was going to say I'm gonna monitor the main chat and just see if you want to drop a question in there. I'll try to answer it. We'll try to answer it, but we're not getting any audio from you, so hopefully you're still there.
Guys, I'm sure you all want your tokens. I'm sure that's the case. I want to start sending them out to you all. So if you're happy, I can jump off and Eric will man the chat for now, and we'll get that token distribution out, and you can start building nests. Just let you know, the website is still there's still a teething issue or two on it. It's still work in progress.
Before you go, Luke, just so everybody's aware, before the token distribution's received, what are the kind of website issues that you guys are having, so it's not a surprise to the listeners who are going to be in receipt of it, just so they can kind of understand it and they can be accepting of it, because obviously this is like a first hour, right? So
yeah, that's it. And do you know what? Just to add on to what Showtime said, Eric and I are human. We will make mistakes as humans do, right? And that's going to happen, but we'll be open and honest if we ever make a mistake, right? Here's the first one. The website, some of the layout is wrong on the front page. There is a problem when you set up a nest. It asks you to resubmit the contract interaction every time. It can get a bit clogged up, so just be patient and slow. Every time you set up a nest, you can't do it now. You have to build it slowly. NFTs aren't working at the moment, but they will be working by the time we launch on the 1st. So a couple of issues. And you know what? If you do find any bugs, please let us know. Please send them over. We'd love to hear about them because we can only fix something if we know about it.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Luke. So just quickly, do you know this glitch you've got where the contract integration with creating nodes? What will people be expected to see?
Hey, so it will just come up. It will say, I'll click it now. It will say, give permission for MetaMask to access your file. It costs 6 cents. So 6 cents. So it will take 6 cents and then create the nest afterwards. But it's about 30 seconds on that contract, 20 seconds on that contract interaction. So click it, wait for it to go through, and then create the nest.
And are all your nests visible?
Lee, I'm really happy for you. I'm going to let you finish, but I've got a question real quick.
Yeah,
Go on, mate.
I had to pull a Kanye West on you to get a word in. Listen, I've been on the Phoenix website since yesterday, browsing it, trying to figure out how to get access to the token address and all that stuff. And I noticed that it said you can buy it on PancakeSwap, and when you click on the link, it took you to Ring. What's going on there? Did you guys copy their website, or how's that happening?
Yeah, so basically we just ripped off their website while ours is in creation. They've got a really good base. It works really well. It's either them or Strong, but we preferred their UI. So we just stripped it down. And yeah, well done for finding it for everyone else. Well,
No, it's good. I approve. I think it's a good idea. I don't have any problems with the copying stuff. But your buggers, it stayed in my cache, and so you guys launched the token, and now it's pumped, and I was still getting sent to buy fucking Ring on PancakeSwap, so I've missed out on buying at the low price there. So
did you get it in the pre-sale? I'm sure you did.
No, I certainly did. I'm very, very happy. I'm just giving you guys shit. But no, that answers my question. That's all. I was just a bit confused by that. But no, carry on as you were.
Yeah, by the way, we've corrected that. That is something the website really. Well, I don't know. It shouldn't have been accessible before it launched, but we were running tests on it. We didn't think anyone was going to find it because we'd been so tight-lipped about the website, the name of the project, and even what chain it's running on. So, but
no, it was.
We found that fix that. So it shouldn't do that anymore. If you clear your cache, it doesn't do that anymore.
It was at the top of the form that we filled out for the pre-sale, and so I copied that and put it in as a URL.
Do you know what it was? Yeah, 10 out of 10.
Okay, well, if you're in the pre-sale, then you kind of know you're getting in at the first point.
No, I'm happy, man. I'm just giving you guys.
Wouldn't have found it.
I love it, man. Thank you, Seamus. Really,
all good, guys. Good work, guys. Carry on.
Thanks, man.
Well,
hey, Jordan?
Luke, you can tell he's one of my mates, can't you?
Hey, Jordan.
No.
Jordan, can we make a channel somewhere in here for submitting bugs that the community finds, so that they can come in here in the Discord, so it doesn't end up in the main chat? We put something over on the left hand side, maybe bug report or something. I don't know where you'd put it, but can we do something like that, Jordan?
Yeah, we can certainly do that. I'll get that set up for you tonight.
Okay, I'm hoping you're the right person to ask. I think so, right?
Jordan's the G, man. I'll put you as admin again, Jordan. Definitely.
Jordan, I'll just make one quick suggestion. You might want to have that create a ticket, because otherwise you might just have a big chat with a bunch of text and people might submit something that might get missed. So I think having a ticket created might be helpful for that.
Not wrong.
Guys, sorry to interrupt. Do you mind if I drop off? I need to start token distribution. Thank you so much for your time. Love you all. And I'll be in the chat in about an hour or so. Let me just get your tokens out, guys.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you.
Cheers.
Yep. I can stay here and man more questions. So I can stay here and field questions if anyone else wants to ask any questions or has any concerns or what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I wanted to bring something up. So when you guys, I assume you're going to have different wallets performing different functions of expenses and things like that, yeah?
That's correct, yes.
And those will all be public for people to see and monitor if they want?
I think the intention right now is to make everything public. We are going to have an operating expense wallet where we pay. So we separated that out like a true company should separate their operating expense out to a separate, at least a separate line item in their budget. So that wallet, I don't know if Luke and I have landed on whether that one's going to be public or not, but we may make it public. It has the potential because of the way we've structured the operating expenses. It's got the potential to get rather large. If it does get rather large, we plan on using that to feed back into the community somehow. So Luke and I are not looking to become like overnight millionaires and disappear because we got our bag and you're all on your own. So if that does get to the point where it's excessive and we have a lot of money sitting in there, we're going to put that to work back for the community. There's no need for us to sit on, millions of dollars worth of maintenance and operating expenses when the operating expenses really aren't even that high, to be honest, at this point.
Yeah, definitely. So let me ask another question. You brought up earlier that part of the treasury growing would be used to perform buybacks. So let me ask this question. What would you do with the tokens you buy back? I'm assuming you're talking about the FIRE tokens. Like, what would you do after you buy them?
So I think I'd have to get John, the CFO, to go through the way that the tokens flow, because he and I and Luke really came up with that as a joint effort. I think it goes into rewards, but I'm not entirely certain on where that goes at this time. I'd have to consult John and get back to you on that, but I can give you an answer, just maybe not off the top of my head. But the idea is that it's going to have to go back to the community somehow. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work with the token flow in and inflow outflow from the treasury.
Yeah, okay, no worries. And do you guys think you would ever consider a bonding mechanism like Olympus and Time and Hector DAO and how a lot of these projects do?
We have talked about that. There's a time for that, I think, that initially we're going to run with this, and then at a later time we may introduce a concept where you can bond, and bonding would be done with some other tokens, maybe Avalanche token or other tokens that we find to be valuable that we want to add to the treasury in exchange for a discounted ring token. I'm sorry, I said ring. FIRE. I got ring on the mind. FIRE, for a discounted FIRE token in exchange for that bond, and do the same vesting period, perhaps. Maybe not a one-to-one immediate transfer. But yeah, that's on the roadmap. It's just not it's not a day one feature. We kind of came up with that after development started as a concept and thought, man, that's a really good idea. But development was already so far down the road that we thought, man, if we introduce this idea now, it's going to delay the launch, and we didn't want to do that because we wanted to once again time the market where we can put our slogan out and say this is the phoenix rising from the ashes. And I think this is representative of what we're seeing today and yesterday, really, with some of the other competitors in the space, no names mentioned.
Yeah, because I think what would be great about that is you'd be taking the best of what Olympus kind of created, which is incentivizing the investors to grow the treasury, and then you're kind of marrying it with the DeFi as a service. So it's almost both, and I think that's going to attract a certain amount of people. And by the way, I am really, really, really happy you guys chose not to use the word node. I really, because it's really funny.
Actually,
go ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I was going to just throw in there really quick that we had a meeting with myself and Luke and John shortly after we brought John on as our CFO, which, by the way, he has a master's degree in accounting from Mississippi State University, guys. So he's not just somebody I like, and I think he's good at math. Like, he has credentials to back him up. But we sat around and talked about it, and you know what we came up with was this name Nest, because people create nest eggs, or nesting has this sort of home feeling and this sort of conservative feeling to it, that we thought it was a great way to illustrate the mechanism by which, because you are investing and creating your nest. So that was sort of the wordplay, and John actually came up with that while we were all talking. So
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's really funny how a word can really change something. Literally, one word can, I'm not going to say it's going to make or break it, just from a branding perspective, though. It's going to either attract people or turn them off. I mean, I know people, I'm trying to do this as well myself with these protocols. I'm starting to call them just smart contracts. That's really what they are. They're not nodes. They're not validating transactions. They're just simply smart contracts, and that's really all they are. So I love the word nest. I think you guys made a great choice with that for sure.
It's an investment position. If you want to break it down into what it actually is, it's an investment position. But it's really hard to quantify. I think the reason that Ring did that, and I'm going to use their name because they were the first ones to do it, they really just wanted to be sort of a strong block fork because no one had done that, and it was familiar that the market could recognize what that means, and once again it got that immediate attention that fed their program really, really well. And fed their project really, really well up front, even if it was somewhat deceptive in nature because people thought they were creating nodes in the nature of what Strongblock calls a node, and they weren't. So I've got a couple of hands going up here. Showtime, do you mind if I
go for it, please.
divvy out the time here? Okay, so Papa Jordy, is that how you say that? You got some questions?
Yeah, man. Just a quick one, just an observation while I've been kind of listening in, and obviously people are sharing stuff regards to you guys, stealthily launching everything. I guess the question is regarding the information that was mentioned in the chat earlier in the evening about not printing out the contract ID. The reason why I'm saying it would be a good idea to do that is obviously just to make sure that people know what the right contract is for this particular project, so that they're not on DEX tools or whatever it is and trying to buy this token and then not able to buy off the right one, because we all know there's a load of scams going on where people try to fake, mimic and pretend to be, the real thing when in fact they're not. So buy that token and end up losing their money and everything else. It's just that I think just to make sure that when you do launch or you do print anything else or you publish anything, can you let us know what it is legitimately? Because obviously it's out there. Just to make sure that no one kind of just, uses the wrong thing, buys the wrong thing.
I think the initial reason we did that was because this didn't actually launch. So we didn't want it to leak out before we'd actually launched it. That's going to change. I shouldn't say obviously because maybe it's not obvious. We are definitely going to publish the smart contract address. We're going to publish the other addresses or the other wallets that are used throughout this project. I think we be honest with you guys, this thing started like an hour ago. We launched the token and created the liquidity pool for the first time about an hour before this AMA started. So if there was any talk in the chat about not sharing the contract address, it was probably under the impression that we didn't want it to get out before we had a chance to have this AMA and have a chance to answer any questions that you guys here might have, and certainly didn't want people just like pumping and dumping in that contract because they can. That makes sense? Yeah. Does that answer your question? Got anything else for me?
No, that's cool, man. No, just it's doing really well. It's $80 now. So sounds like it's going to be a success, boys. Congratulations. Glad to be part of it. I guess the only thing I'm truly interested in is to read more about this, tokenomics and everything else, the white paper, that kind of stuff, the publications, the usual stuff that comes out there. I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing that and looking forward to looking at the website because I'm not seeing it yet. So I'm sat here waiting. Send it, baby. Send it.
The website is live.
What's the URL?
So it's thephoenix.finance.
Okay.
So yeah, it's live. We did have issues with the website up to about an hour ago. We were still having issues with old, so like we mentioned earlier, Luke mentioned, we did use the Ring website as kind of a template to work from. So it is a copy, but we've got plans in place, just so you guys are aware. This is a version 1 website. I fully anticipate having a version 2 website. I'm already talking to a web designer And the person who did the artwork for the NFTs that you'll see on there is also going to help with the design of the website. That's someone I've been in contact with for about a week now. So we're going to have a version 2 of that website. This is just, if you look at, honestly, if you look at Ring, if you look at Thor, they each had a version 1 of their website. And I'll agree with Showtime. When I first saw the Ring version 1 website, the first thing that ran through my mind was, God, this is probably just a snatch and grab. I can't believe I'm about to throw money into this. And I did it anyways, just as a gamble. But I liked the concept. I read the concept and I thought, man, this is amazing. No one's doing this. This is great. I should probably get in on this. And I did. And it turned out to be okay for a little while. But yeah, there's going to be a version 2 of that website. So guys, just understand it's not, I'm happy with it. Let's just put it that way. I don't want to sell it negative. I don't want to sell negativity, guys. I'm happy with it. So.
That's good. I'm on there. It's working. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, it works, man. Make some nests.
I will do. Is the 1 million tokens then for Fire, is that for night? That's it? That's all it's ever going to be?
That's it. It's a fixed supply. We're not burning anything. When you see people do these large quantities, like 20 million tokens, and then burn 90% of it, what they usually do in that case is they'll do a token allocation for themselves based on a total percentage. And they'll say, well, I want to set aside 5% of the outstanding token for myself. And then they do a burn. And so it looks like the token quantity goes way down, but they maintain the original 5% off of the higher quantity. So they don't burn their own tokens. That's usually just how they can, a quick way to hide how they're going to stuff their own bags. So Luke and I are not doing that. We are taking a set aside as the founders, but the value is 1 million tokens. It's fixed. It's not going up. It's not going down. That's it. And that, by the way, that model, the business model here is sustainable under 1 million tokens as well, up to, I think, 33 million nests. So if we get to 33 million nests, we'll have to figure something out. Which I don't think even the best of them have not even past 100,000 barely. So Staying Strong's been at it for about a year and a half now. They've been at it, and they're just now at 200,000 nodes under their model. So it's not. And by the way, they have a lower outstanding. Well, no, their total is higher, but their circulating supply is like 138,000 tokens. So it's really scalable. When you look at 1 million, it's a lot.
When is the token distribution from like the whitelist going to occur so that we can create some nests?
Yeah, that's actually what Luke jumped off to do. Luke is doing that right now. So he jumped off the chat to go take care of that for you guys.
Okay, yeah, awesome. So I'm assuming that's not based on, obviously because it was a whitelist, it's not based on market price, it's based on everything else prior to that. So, depending on how many AVAX you sent over, if you've sent 20, you should be able to allocate about 20 nests, something like that.
So it's going to work out to 25.
25, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we stuck with the same numbers everybody else does. And I mentioned early on, and if you joined the chat late, we're not doing those 40% off or 30% off sales where you can buy a nest for 70% of the usual value. We don't find that that's a sales tactic that's used to pump the price, and the only person who benefits from that are the ones who are selling into that price, and typically the ones who do that are the ones selling into that hype and benefiting from it the most. So we're not doing that. That's a shady price pumping exercise that I don't think, and ultimately it hurts your runway, because now you have more nests or nodes, as they call them, to support with less in the treasury, less in the reward wallet, and you end up with situations where you run out of runway and you don't have anything in your reward wallet and nobody can claim, and that hurts your branding and your image. So I rambled there for a minute. Was there something else to your question there, Solomon?
No, agree 1,000%. I think somebody was talking about just kind of like the really ridiculous branding as far as like nests are concerned, and kind of like an investment product. Probably something to think about and capitalize on based on how you guys want to hashtag it and brand it, especially when you guys come out with some more information for people, everything else. I mean, there's probably a really succinct way to brand it that separates itself as well.
Yep.
I'm sure you guys have thought about that to an extent. I keep thinking in my head, like, The Phoenix Rises.
Yeah.
Something ridiculous.
So actually,
you know?
I've got 5 phases already mapped out on the roadmap. I'm not at a point now where I can share that with anyone outside of the direct team that I'm working with. So that'd be Luke and John and some of the other folks that are here supporting us. But I named them Phoenix Rising Event 1, Phoenix Rising Event 2, Phoenix Rising Event 3. And so you get this imagery of that, the Phoenix rebirth or resurrection, or that sustainable renaissance, if you will. That's the idea behind those, is that I do, and Luke and I agree on this, I do want to brand it, Phoenix Rising Event 1. And I kind of want to lead out on January 1st with that, because it gives you the idea that there is something else on the roadmap. Because if I call it Event 1, that implies that there's more than just one, right? So there's going to be a second one and a third one and a fourth one. I've got 5 already identified on the roadmap as one of the founders. So we definitely have a good vision on where we're going, and I'd love to share more of that later on. I don't want to give too much away early on because I don't want my competitors to adapt too quickly. I kind of want to set the stage and then, let them catch up, and then set the stage and let them catch up, and set the stage and let them catch up.
Makes sense, man. Well, cheers, man, and hope you have a good rest of your evening. I look forward to creating the nest tonight, and then being able to support here in the very near future. So if you need anything from me, I talked to Luke yesterday. So if you need anything from me, definitely reach out, and I'll touch base, and we'll go from there, man.
Yeah. Oh, and to go back to your earlier question, Solomon, I think you made a statement about the whitelist sale and private sales. Those are done as a peer-to-peer transaction, so they're completely outside of the market. So that's a peer-to-peer transaction that you guys signed up for. If you were on the whitelist or you were part of a private sale, you got involved. You bought those directly from us, which was great. We love that. But that's your price regardless of the market price, and the distribution will be going out tonight.
All right, bro. Well, have a good night, man. And, congrats. I'm sure you guys are stressed
Thank
as
you.
fuck. And, I will be here to support if you guys need me, and we'll go from there, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it.
All right, bro. Later.
Eric, you able to talk a little bit about the NFTs a little bit more regarding master NFTs and the grand NFTs, what they do, when to buy the master, when to buy the grand NFT?
Sorry, I was hitting my vape pen. I used to be a smoker, so full transparency. All right, so the NFTs, we envision that being a mechanism by which people could optionally opt in to increasing rewards at a one-time expense. All right, and to be fair, we didn't want them to be cost prohibitive. So let me start off by saying we didn't want them to be cost prohibitive. One of the things I disliked about Strong was they came up with this model where you could buy NFTs and they could boost rewards. I love the idea of an NFT with a purpose. That was a beautiful concept that I truly love. When David Moss introduced that, I was truly excited when he did that, and then I was immensely disappointed when I saw the pricing came out on those. And some of those, I don't remember the prices in Ethereum, but the ones that you really wanted were like $100,000 at the time that they were released. And I thought, man, I don't know if that's really worth it. I could just build more nodes and have a better return on investment than buying a $100,000 NFT. I don't care really if it's pretty. It needs to, so my point is, we wanted to have a way for someone to opt into it. We came up with a price point. I don't know if you can see it or not because I don't think the buying option is working currently. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. My screen, I haven't moved my mouse in a while. My screen went black and I thought, man, my computer just died in the middle of a conversation. So it's a way to opt in to increase rewards. We priced it according to, to make it attractive for the payout, because I want it to be something that you want to try and opt in on, but also be available for not every person, but the average person who's investing in this probably has enough to pay for it. I'll say we didn't price it at like $100,000 for an NFT. That's ridiculous, in my opinion. Because anyways, the master NFT, you have to have 10 nodes. 10 nests. I'm going to catch myself saying nodes. Dang it. You have to have 10 nests in order to stake a master NFT. The master NFT increases the rewards for those 10 nests. You can do that up to 10 times. Excuse me. Also, the wallets are limited. You can't have more than 10 master NFTs per wallet. You can't have more than one brand NFT per wallet. Luke and I were trying to find a way to make this where it didn't become a tradable item where someone could just buy them up and sit on them and then start a secondary exchange to sell them, kind of like a pass-through scalper. So we wanted to avoid that. So the limitation is you can have 10 per wallet of the master, and you can have one brand. The 10 masters, you have to get to those 10. So you have to have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And then you have to apply all those 10 master NFTs. And then once you have 10 master NFTs and you have 100 nests, then you can put on the grand NFT, which is the Phoenix final form. And you'll see the pictures there. I wanted to depict something of we wanted to depict something, some kind of a really cool art, but it wasn't the purpose of having the NFT. But it's you sort of get this like smoldering image of a phoenix that's kind of like, it's there, you can tell it's there, it's growing, it's getting hotter, but it's not quite this radiant, burning, fiery phoenix. And then when you get to the 100 nests, the payoff is the grand NFT, and that gives you that fiery phoenix. It also adds a boost as well to all 100 of your nests. So the way it works in the increments is the master NFT adds 0.025 per nest that it's applied to, up to 10 per master NFT. And you can do that up to 10 times for up to 100 nests. And then your your grand NFT, that one applies a 0.05 boost. So you can get up to 0.3 per day per nest with all of those NFTs in there. If you just have the master NFT, your per nest, your per day is 0.25, right? Because it raises it up it'll raise it up to 0.25, and then the last one gets you up to 0.3, excuse me. And so effectively, if you had 100 nests, you had everything staked, you would end up with a total daily take of 30 of the fire tokens. And so that's the maximum output per day that any one wallet can get. And that seems low when you look at other products and say, well, I can earn 250 tokens here, or I can earn, 300, 400 tokens here. And then I would point you back to, but that's not sustainable. Watch what happens when the selling happens, and that's all going to trail the price down to damn near nothing. So everything we did was about sustainability. If you're in it for the 200 token a day rewards, then you're probably not going to find it here. So, I shouldn't say that because I'm thinking in multiple wallets. I'm sorry. So one of the others is 55. So we have 30. So we're not too far off. That answer your questions on the NFTs, Papa Jordy? Am I saying your name right, by the way?
Yeah, you are, mate. It's fine. So I guess just to kind of summarize everything that you've said then, let's just jump. If I've just got 10 nests and I want to boost my rewards, I go and buy a master NFT. If I've got the money and I think bollocks to it, I'm going to go and buy 100 nests. Would I just go ahead and say, I don't need to buy a master NFT, I can just go and buy the grand NFT because I've now got 100 nests? Or is the grand NFT qualify me only when I get to 100 nests, but I still need to buy the master NFTs?
Yes, so it is cumulative and it does stack. So you have to have, the way we built the code is you have to have you have to have 10 master NFTs before you can get the grand NFT. So it is iterative in that you have to have one before the other. So you can't just go buy a grand NFT and apply it. But I think once you see the pricing on it, you're going to see we did really well with that because we didn't want to sell you 10. We wanted to make it incremental and get everyone involved in it. But we understand that buying 10 for a wallet that's a lot of NFTs for one wallet. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, I don't know. But once you see the pricing, I think you'll understand that the 10 NFT master NFT purchase is not really as daunting as you might think it is.
No, it's cool. It's cool. So I guess then, does the NFTs just give me boosts to my wallet rewards, or is there something coming later potentially that I need to keep these NFTs for? Maybe
they will.
Pipeline, you know?
They will give some other benefits down the road. We're thinking about doing some kind of a club access. If you have the grand NFT, you're put into a different club and group within the community with some other perks that I think Luke alluded to earlier on, maybe lotteries. for those people who hold those NFTs, and then lottery winners out of those would get some kind of rewards ancillary to the fact that they're also getting boosts to their daily rewards. So there's more than one benefit to having it. As of this moment, on day one, we launched, I think, 2 hours ago. That's not in place yet. That's more of a roadmap item. But there will be more benefit to having them. Does that satisfy your question?
Yeah, man. And is the price stay the same throughout regardless? So they're fixed prices and it's just limited supply of each of these NFTs, right?
They are fixed prices. We're not going to change the price of the NFTs. I believe we pegged it to a dollar value so as to not have the price run up. So like when Strong launched theirs, for instance, it was an Ethereum and Strong token, which are both fluctuating values. I didn't like that. Luke didn't like that. And we said, don't quote me on it. I'm almost 100%. So we've done a lot of work over the last 2 weeks. I'm almost 100%. We pegged that to a dollar figure.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your questions. Jordan,
right,
did you have something else to add? Jordan, did you have anything to add? Yes, you came back on stage. I didn't know if you wanted to jump in and ask something.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes, I'm sorry.
Excellent. No, it's fine. I'm trying to multitask and have my headphones in. Lesson learned. But my question is, and evidently everyone's excited. We've just launched, and on Dex Screener, we're seeing $90, right? Which of course very exciting on day one. But the market cap, Eric, do you know if 90 million market cap is correct? Can you explain what that is?
Yes, that is correct. So what it is the dollar amount per token multiplied by the outstanding tokens or total tokens in circulation, which is 1 million. So with a current price of 90 per token at $1 million, gives you a $90 million market cap. This was built mathematically. We looked at this, and our CFO helped us out with this as well. We built this and looked at this to be a big presence within this community. So I think once we really get going, guys, this is 2 hours in, and I'm not saying that the markets always go up and they never come down. But I think once you see us get going and get our steam ahead of us and get the momentum going, the plan is to actually be somewhere a lot higher than this.
Incredible. And it's always that thing where market cap is fugazi. You hear so often in this space, which is evident for some projects. It's wonderful hearing how transparent and how easily the market cap for Fire can be explained to anyone at all levels. So thank you for clearing that up, Eric. I'll be able to answer questions on that too now. That was
anybody else?
Myself. No, for
anybody
myself.
Else? No other questions. Anybody?
I got a quick question. So I gave Thor and Ring, not Ring. We keep saying Ring. Thor and Power a really, really hard time because one of the things they were doing, and I want to ask if you guys plan to do this as well, is when they launched, they were doing what I'm going to coin a lazy DAO, where they simply had a Discord vote where you had to give us a snapshot of your wallet address and we'll confirm it and you can come in and vote, which is not a DAO. It's not on-chain governance, as you're well aware of.
Right.
And then Soldier Nodes, of course, did it even worse. They did a Twitter vote. So I guess my question is, I'm hoping, number one, you guys aren't going to do that. Number two, when will the actual DAO be up and ready for on-chain governance, do you think?
All right, that's going to be a phase 2. We didn't put that in the code initially. That was something we talked about as we were developing. It was too late on our time scale to get that in on phase 1. So it'll be phase 2 on the second smart contract. So there's going to be a second smart contract. At some point, you have to migrate if you're going to make changes, because once you deploy a smart contract, that's it. You don't make changes. What you do, and then essentially, is you create a brand new smart contract and you migrate to that smart contract every time you make an update. So with our CerTIC audit coming back Friday, we're going to get our results on Friday and all the findings. I'm fairly certain we don't have any major findings. Our developer is pretty top notch, but I'm expecting we're going to have some things to tweak. So there is going to be a phase 2. I'm not promising that we're going to have the DAO vote proper on chain like you're describing on phase 2. As soon as that goes out, maybe it's a phase 3. I'll have to talk to Luke and see if we can figure that out. I do want to have a DAO. That's part of what we're going to create here, or what we have created here is the DAO. There's a community sense to that, and I love the involvement and the concept that they came up with when they created that concept. But we unfortunately couldn't fit it in the code in the time frame that we were shooting for, so it's going to be a later edition. That being said, the initial investments, I don't know how we're going to handle any voting on that. You're right to call it a lazy DAO. Discord can be done better than what Ring did. Twitter is definitely not the way to go. I don't want to launch a website. That they used a SurveyMonkey, I think, to launch a website and then gave the link out to people in the verified holders community, and then told everyone, please don't leak it. So you could potentially have people voting more than once, or you could have people not even involved in the project voting on it. So yeah, long answer to your short question is, it's something we're working towards.
Yeah, I was going to suggest snapshot.org might be an easy way to implement it until you actually can build your own code.
I'm free for any kind of suggestions. If you have a way to do it without me having to recreate the wheel, then absolutely, brother, give it to me.
Yeah. I can DM that to you, but yeah, it's snapshot.org. It's what Olympus uses, actually. They didn't even build their own from the ground up.
Did you ever follow Jade Protocol?
Once I found out Smartcoin was behind it, I decided to stay clear from it.
Yeah, I same here, but they had a really good voting system that I liked. I mean, I did participate a little bit. I didn't put a lot of money into it, but I did participate a little bit. I like the way they did it. I would take a look at. I may take a look at that with our developer and see if we can adapt something like that.
Great.
So, but I love your comment, snapshot.org. I wrote it down in the notes, so we'll look at that and see how we can get that included or implemented into our second smart contract that we're going to migrate to after the findings on the CERTIC audit are remediated, if we have any. I don't know if we'll have any.
That's great. That's great. Just for everybody here, one of the things I liked about Luke and Eric is that, I've been burnt with people in the past, and so when I'm coming into a project, and kind of like, none of the mods, or when you saw King Solomon, none of us are paid. I know they said that. We bought in just like the rest of you guys did, but one of the things is when I came in, I wanted to see the project do well, and right away I noticed that Eric as well as Luke were very open to ideas and very open to different things, and which you'll find a lot. I don't even have to mention the projects now, but the CEOs are so sometimes pompous. It's like they've got it all figured out. You can't tell them anything because if you tell them, they've already done it 100 times better than you, kind of thing. So one thing I really liked about Eric and Luke is that they're like, hey, you know what, we don't know it all, and that's actually the beauty of where a DAO and a community really comes into play. Let's build it for the community, because the community maybe sees things that we don't. So I really appreciate that about you, Eric, as well as Luke, that you guys are smart guys, but also very open to suggestions as well.
Yeah, completely. There's no egos here at all. There's some people, I won't name any names. Everyone knows which one it is if you've been there, but there is a particular person in charge of a particular project who thinks his shit doesn't stink, and he will not take any recommendations, even from the moderators of that project. So he literally typed in, by the way, I'm relinquishing my modship, so I'm a mod at I'm currently a moderator in the Ring Discord, and I will be relinquishing that title henceforth pretty much now when I get done with this chat. But he typed in, just to put it out there for everybody else to hear, he said, "You're not here to give me recommendations." That's what he typed in mod chat to us, was, "You're not here to give me recommendations. You're here to go stop people from fudding the project." And I'm sitting there thinking, man, you're the reason they're fudding. Like, I in order to stop the fudding, I'd have to stop you. Anyways, I'm not casting shade. Just wanted to put it out there. No egos here. If anyone's got suggestions or recommendations, Luke and I are all ears. At some point, the community is going to get quite large, so we may tier that out. so that the moderators serve as the gatekeepers, or we may have like an ideas or suggestions. There's already a suggestions, channel. But Luke and I will try to be as receptive as possible to any suggestions. And if we don't agree with the suggestion, we'll give you a concise and proper answer as to why we don't agree with the suggestion, or we may adapt some of what you recommend, but not all of it. So I just ask that you have some patience with that and understanding that if we make a decision to go somewhere else, or we choose not to adopt a recommendation that you've given, we will give you a really good reason why, but we feel it's going to be in the best interest of the community at that point. If we do something like that, it will be for the best interest of the community. So we're not serving ourselves. We're not serving a single or a couple of individuals. Like, for instance, if you come to me and say, hey, I really want to invest in this project, but you went and loaded your bags up first so that you could make money off of us investing in it behind you, I would have to see what the project is, evaluate it, make sure it's a good fit for what the community portfolio needs. And it won't be just, one of those where you just extremely benefit from some kind of a recommendation like that. So just putting it out there, we are open, but we are going to be critical of what the recommendations are as well. So
just something
I have a tendency to ramble, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Just something I'm noticing from a technical level is I notice that every time a nest is to be created, you guys are getting permission, which is similar to what Strong does, so that you guys don't have like an unlimited, infinite permissions level. So question, if somebody modifies the permission and raises it, will that allow them to just have one transaction there, or do they have to really do that every time?
At this point, it's every time. I brought it up with the developer to see if we could modify that, but I don't know if that's the case at this point. It represents a small roadblock because you have to click on it. It does cost 6 cents, I think, is what it runs. So if you're going to create 100 nests, you're going to have to pay an additional $6 in those authorization fees, and I think that's just the way it is right now. It's something I would hope to get corrected in the next iteration of the smart contract once we migrate to a version 2 after the CERTIC audit. I brought that up to the developer this evening and said that I didn't think that was right, and that we need to revisit that because others have done this and they don't have that.
Right.
Let's call it a feature.
Right, or at least it's there, but if you modify the permission, then it's gone because you only really need permission one time. Now, so the other question is the AVAX cost when you're building the nest. Is that has the maintenance fee built into it? Is that correct?
Say that one more time.
The second transaction that comes up after you apply the permission, you're actually creating the nest.
Yes.
The AVAX fee is a little high. I'm assuming that's because it has the maintenance fee built into it?
Yes, you pay the maintenance fee when you create the nest. So I need to discuss the maintenance fees. That's one of the things you guys will see in the tokenomics and the white paper. So we do have maintenance fees on the nests. They are $20 for 90 days. So it represents a $6.66, I think, is the math per month per nest. It runs for 90 days. If you don't pay it at the end of the 90 days, a smart contract will remove your nest. We did that as a way to keep people engaged, but also if we have someone who has a lost wallet, like they've lost their seed phrase or the recovery phrase, and we don't have so we don't have rewards going into an unused or empty wallet. So it was that kind of mechanism as well was in there for that purpose. So we tried to make it as cost friendly as possible. That is how we get around doing the 10% claim fee. But if you look at some of your bigger holders, myself included in some of those other projects, 10% actually represents a lot of money that these people are taking. So I rather like the idea of a $6 or $7 a month maintenance fee and not having the claim tax of 10% every time you claim your rewards that gets paid to the developers and the team to do with what they choose, which, by the way, they have to sell that into their own liquidity pool in order to realize a gain on it. So that could be where some of the other selling pressure comes from. They've got a lot of selling pressure in those tokenomics. I don't think they realize how much they've created that selling pressure themselves.
That's fascinating. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you make a lot of sense with that. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that's one of the questions I asked in the first AMA I did with Darius over at Ring was, how do you account for, because you can't he said something like, well, we take in these fees. And I said, yeah, but you can't use that for anything. You have to go convert it to something, unless you're on a central exchange where you can exchange for fiat, you can't do that.
Right.
So you've got to change it to something else. So you're eating your own liquidity in order to do that, to support yourselves. So that puts an additional selling pressure on the project. So we opted for an avalanche. It's pegged, right? So there's the maintenance cost is fixed to a dollar amount, not an AVAX amount, and you pay the AVAX. And that gives us the ability to run that maintenance or operating expense wallet, right, that we're going to operate all of our budgets, operating expenses out of, so that we're not eating away from the project itself and the mission of the project in order to feed ourselves operating expenses and R&D or development or anything down the road that we have to pay in fees. And that's the one I was talking about earlier, if you guys have been here a while, that if that account gets excessively large, like say for instance we're sitting on $1 million worth of avalanche in there, we are probably going to use that to either invest or do buybacks from the liquidity pool in some fashion or form and then put the fire tokens that we take into the reward pools so that we can feed the project. So we're not looking to sit on tons and tons of money for ourselves. The only way we're looking to benefit from this is if the community benefits from this, and we are also users of the community process. So
great.
I can probably do like 10 more minutes, guys. We've been doing this for almost 2 hours, and there's not that many people in here, honestly. So if anybody wants to ask questions that hasn't asked and you've just been listening, let's call it like 10 more minutes, and then I'm going to jump off, and you guys go have fun spreading the word quietly. Or we could drop now if no one has any other questions. This is going to get a lot more fun when we have more people.
Oh yeah, definitely. Once you get a couple hundred people in here, it's going to get pretty crazy.
Yeah. Oh, look, we've got some more questions. Hold on. Let me get you guys up here. Dream State, I'm going to bring you back up, buddy. I hope your microphone's working this time.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go. All right. Hey, there you are. Perfect.
Hey, Eric, it's Nav. Actually, a female. It's okay.
Okay, cool. Hey, Nav.
Hiya. Great work. And I really think the community really needs something that's just sustainable. So I think this is supposed to be passive income, and I think with other ones we're just working too hard to just keep up with it more. So I'm kind of looking forward to being able to sit back a little bit.
You got to make sure passive income doesn't turn into get rich quick, because that's not what passive income is. No, of course.
Yeah, no. Right. But I mean, the amount of time we're spending on these other ones is just probably a little bit more than I kind of imagined. But anyway, which is, is it passive? Not really. But anyway, that's beside the point. But I'm really glad that you're bringing this project along, because I just think everyone's just so fed up. They're just looking for something like this. But my question was just going back to that maintenance fees. Just how do we pay that then every 3 months? Because I think you said that if you don't, to keep you engaged, if you don't pay it, then your nests goes. So what do we do in 3 months' time?
Yeah. There is a button when you create a nest, just like what StrongBlock does. There's a button over to the right-hand side of the table that says pay fee, and that's where you can pay your fee.
Okay, will there be a counting timer or something? Because I've never had a strong node, so I don't. Obviously, this is not familiar for me.
Yep, there is a timer in place right now. The formatting is not as pretty as I'd like it to be. I've talked to the developer about changing the format of the text output. Right now, it'll tell you, I built a nest just as a test. I only built one nest, guys, but I built a test nest today, and it says remaining 2 months, 28 days, 23 hours, 16 minutes, and 21 seconds. And I thought, man, that's we don't need that kind of level of detail. It's a little bit much. How about we just have 90 days, and then tomorrow it increments down to 89 days, and sort of like a much easier to read, right? And then the developer said, well, what if they get to that last day? And I said, honestly, I don't think anyone's going to let it go that far. I've got 18 strong nodes personally, and I've never let them get that far down where I was close to losing it, because it represents such a gut punch if I do lose one on my own negligence. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that's going to happen, but we're going to change the output of that. But yeah, to answer your question, there is a button in there to pay the maintenance fee, and you can pay up to 2 cycles in advance, so 180 days. You can pay up to 6 months in advance if you want, but I recommend you don't forget that that is coming around in 6 months.
Yeah, so then that will have to be done for each nest, right? So you'll have to click
Yes.
that button per nest. Okay,
Yes,
then
and I actually, I
don't
know that we have I don't know that we have a pay all. Like the pay all fees in one transaction. I need to work on the developer to see, because I've only created one nest. I don't know what it does if I have 2.
Okay, fair enough.
So
Yeah,
I'll
that's
see.
a good idea. You don't have that function. You only
need to
have
have
a
that
pay fee per node, and it's a good idea to have a pay all node fees in one button. That would be good, especially for me, because I've got a lot.
I'm sorry, do we end up, did you say we pay in AVAX, but it's pegged?
Yes.
I was listening, but it went over my head a little bit.
Yeah, so what you're going to do is you're going to pay in the form of AVAX, but AVAX has a float market price that changes with buying and selling sentiment or value sentiment in the market. So when someone decides they're going to sell it, it becomes less valuable. When someone buys it, it becomes more valuable. So rather than having a fixed AVAX price, which could change up or down, we decided to have a dollar price, but have it represented in a live market price of what AVAX is. So when you pay your fee, it's going to be $20 for 90 days, and it's in US dollars. So $20 for 90 days. It'll run a calculation to figure out what that means at the time you're paying the fee, how much AVAX you need to pay.
Oh, okay, great. That makes it easy.
Yep.
I was like, what? Like, I just need to just understand this first before I decide how many nests I build.
All of them.
Yeah. We'll see. Okay, great. No, that was all. Thanks. I'm glad my audio is working as well. That's really good.
Yeah, me too. Thank you for your question.
Thanks for your work. I know it's been a few long hours, so yeah.
Yeah, we haven't slept. I'll be honest.
Morning.
We haven't slept much in the last 48 hours. We took Christmas Day off, and then after that we hit it hard. So
yeah, I don't blame you guys.
Fighting and
cool. All right, thanks, Eric. That's all.
Appreciate it, Nav. Thank you.
Hey, Eric, my question, just to kind of wrap that up for you guys, I'll leave you alone and get some sleep, is obviously one observation is that there's a 12-hour sales tax, 9% for anybody that decides that they want to try and sell any of their tokens today. What happens after that 12 hours? Then obviously you're going to remove the sale tax completely, or is it still going to remain there, or is it going to be a little bit less? What are your expectations going forward? I guess we all have a duty to make this all a success because we're all vested in this. We don't want to all kind of, drain the liquidity pool on day 1, 2, 3, 4. We all need to kind of behave ourselves a little bit. What do you kind of advise, and how do you expect people who have obviously got a lot of tokens and have got a lot of nests to behave? What would you kind of advise?
Yeah, so I would say that the reason we did it was because of what you alluded to there. We didn't want to sell off. We started with a certain amount of liquidity in the pool. It's gone up. I'm actually watching it on my second screen. It's gone up now considerably, which is nice, but we didn't want the whitelist token holders to take advantage of this price action because you got it at such a discount in the retail transaction. We didn't want you to go out and go dump that into the market, drain the liquidity, and poof, we're done before we even got started. So that's why that sales tax is there, is trying to deter you from doing that. After that, I think it just goes away. I don't think we have any kind of a step-down mechanism where we're going to go to a lower amount. We trust that the people, we know most of the people, or we know people who know the people who are involved in the private sale, and you're here because you're going to behave, and you're probably going to build nests with the tokens that you've acquired, because that would be I'm not giving financial advice, but that would be the probably best thing to do. I can tell you a one-time payout's not passive income, and if you're here for a one-time payout, then that's not really what we're about. But if you take advantage of building nests and earning that residual income consistently, that'll pay out way better than just a one-time transaction. But we trust everyone here has in their mind that they're going to build nests and take advantage of the passive income capabilities. That's what the project's about. So I don't think anyone's here to dump anyways.
Oh, I've got one more question, Eric. Just spinning on my other question. What happens if, because of the maintenance fee, what happens if, 12 or 6, 8 months down the line, for some reason, you just need to not be doing this kind of thing? Where you can't do, is there a way to just like take the nests away? Do you see what if you're like in a position or something happened, for example, and you just can't continue with your nest? Like this is worst case scenario, I guess.
So you're painting a scenario where you can't afford to pay the nest fees anymore?
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking that, I don't know, like there might, for some reason, like you can't sell your nests back, right? But I'm just thinking because there's a fee that you would always have to pay in 3 months. But I'm just saying, if there's ever an event that would ever happen where you're just like, I can't continue. I'm like a project manager, so I always think worst case scenario.
Sure.
I just, for transparency, want to know what would then happen in that situation.
Yeah. It's a very peculiar and probably rare situation because the passive income you generate from the nests themselves will generate, so much income that paying $6 a month. I mean, that's a Netflix subscription, or it used to be. It's not anymore. It used to be a Netflix subscription, $6, $7 a month. Most people probably could pay that out of their own earnings at some point. But in the case that you don't pay it, the smart contract is completely agnostic, and it doesn't have a mechanism in it to. Let me just be blunt. It's going to delete your nest.
Oh yeah, because of course if you don't pay the fee, I just think
right. You don't pay the fee. The mechanism is if you don't pay fees, it deletes the nest, and there is no contract appeal mechanism in there to. Well, maybe don't do this because this person had a really good reason why they couldn't pay it this time. It's really just this machine code, and that's what it runs, and it runs it. So I don't think it's going to become an issue. People have been doing that on StrongBlock. I don't think StrongBlock has ever had an issue with a large scale. Usually if something got deleted on StrongBlock, it's probably because the wallet was lost and they couldn't keep up with it, or someone, unfortunately, I hate to say this being morbid, someone might have died or been injured or incapacitated.
Well, that's kind of what I think.
Just forgot about it. Yeah.